As I've been working through my clutter and at the same time learning more on the psychology behind autism and ADHD, more and more things are becoming clear to me. Take me working on this video while organizing my home throughout the past 4 or so days. All of a sudden, I came to the realization how decluttering physical things is clearing the clutter in my home, but how organizing what's left is clearing the clutter in my mind. And so that gave me even more reason to share this video with you, in which I'm organizing my home in a way that is both autism and ADHD friendly, while sharing my reasoning behind it all in the hopes it'll give you some inspiration to improve your daily life too. As I mentioned earlier, decluttering and organizing are two separate tasks. Even though I have already done some organizing, that was just the pantry and my closets. As I'm pretty much done decluttering downstairs, I felt I could focus on organizing some bits to make my life easier and my brain happier doing daily tasks. Oh, by the way, if I don't sound happy being done decluttering, even though I'm telling you this right now, it still hasn't really registered somehow. Anywho, as I struggle a lot with executive dysfunctioning, my main focus with organizing is to try and take out as many steps on daily tasks as possible, because less steps means less planning and thus less executive functioning, and thus less confusion, less frustration, less getting stuck. Aside from that, I struggle a lot with out of sight, out of mind. In my video on how interior design affects mental health, I explained how our environment affects us. How our brain constantly processes everything around us impacts us mentally. So with me, even though I forget it exists if I don't see it, if I do see everything, I get super overwhelmed and still basically don't see it, but this time due to the overwhelm of all the stuff strewn about. And so my solution was to make a plan on putting all my stuff into categories, make everything within those categories visible so as to help with the out of sight, out of mind thing, and make it as clutter-free as possible so as to have my brain process as little as possible. So basically, to prevent overstimulation by creating structure, and to make cleaning easier with having clear surfaces. And that way, hopefully create a calmer life. I mean, do I know which spices I have? No idea. But now that it's all neatly categorized and organized, I only have to remember where to look for each category. Same with my pantry, now that I have everything categorized and visually organized in a way that I can see it all in one look. I moved the back stock of cleaners to the cupboard underneath my sink for 2 reasons. One is so that the pantry is now a food-only category. I added 2 hanging baskets to create even more room and to be able to keep it all separated in the categories I only now realized I wanted. The second reason is the added bonus that I now have my cleaners all together, so that I have more of an overview and I will hopefully stop thinking I have nothing left. The out of sight, out of mind thing in optima forma. A bit organized by putting them in rows by their type, but nothing more for now. I plan to come back to organizing it when I'm down to the last bits. Even though I wanted to leave the fridge for later, I realized food should be priority number 1. If you didn't know, executive functioning includes priority setting, and thus can end up with weird priorities for me. And as I have major issues keeping track of things in my fridge, and my brain doesn't do well with the several steps needed to prepare food, I bought some fridge organizers. I will make a separate video to get deeper into that and on how that will work out so that it'll hopefully help you too. But for now, I just wanted to share that the idea is to prep everything at once, rather than every time I want to eat something, as I feel like that is causing my brain to malfunction more often than not. And clear bins so that my brain won't trick me into thinking there's nothing there. As me organizing my pantry has already changed the way I eat in a really good way, I'm hoping that organizing my fridge will help me with that even more by adding more fresh groceries to the mix. To help me with my medicine intake and nicely in line with my decision to keep everything separated in categories, I decided to get some drawer organizers so that I could organize my medication and first aid stuff all neatly, rather than having it fly throughout my drawer every day along with other random stuff that, by the looks of it, should have been trashed a long time ago. I took my prescription meds out as I feel uncomfortable putting those on camera, and I don't even know if that's legal in other countries. But just imagine some more packages and strips thrown about. I now categorized it all into one medical drawer, including cat medication things and first aid, or what's left of that, and got rid of the ones that are around 20 years old and that apparently have weirdo stuff on them. The bits and pieces that I'm adding that seem like clutter and useless are to add a bit of joy to my drawer. The clear bins help me to be able to see it all, and at the same time it's the most budget option I could think of that would still fit my needs. And although plastic has gotten a bad name because of all the single-use plastic, it's actually a super durable option and can stay with us for a lifetime. I mean, it's something I literally hope to use for the rest of my life, as I see no need in replacing it ever. And I guess it makes an extra point for my previous video on sustainability and saving your sanity over saving the planet, for which I'll put a link in the description box in case you're interested. The other drawer is now designated for spices, and even though I don't have that many, or at least I thought I didn't, I decided to organize my spice drawer as if the entire drawer were full of them, as I know myself and I know I won't add random stuff all that easily if it's sort of clearly, to my brain, meant for spices alone. So to some it might seem like a bad use of space, but for me this will probably make a huge positive change into keeping things working for me from now on, as I don't have to search through a heap of spice bottles stashed into one bin anymore. As I discussed in my video on how environmental factors impact us, different sizes, colors, and labels can be a lot for our brain to process too. So I want to see if this works out or if our next step could be to decant my spices into matching and calm, minimalistic looking bottles. For now, I think this is enough, as I don't want to overdo it if I don't yet know whether this will indeed impact me and make a difference. And aside from that, my spices are all from the same brand and are quite uniform anyway, and it would save me the extra hassle of decanting. But we'll see over time how it all works out. You'll find a video on how environmental factors impact us in the description box as well. As I seem to lose my hairbrush almost daily, and still, even though I've decluttered so much and I don't even know how that is happening, and as my hair ties also seem to disappear on me on a daily, I decided to use the retractable shelf in my smaller closet to organize my hair supplies. By moving the shelf above it up a bit, I can now even fit my hairdryer in there, and so I put all my hair stuff neatly together on that shelf. I decluttered a bunch of hair ties as they were also around 15 years old and have apparently deteriorated enough to be useless by now. The piece of fabric underneath the clear bins, which is not wrapped from Lush, is again for the added spark of joy every time I slide it open. As I wanted the space underneath my bed empty to make it both more tidy and easy to clean, and as the two boxes that were underneath have been there only because I didn't know where else to put them, I decided to use the decluttered empty shelves in my closet for that stuff, but rehomed into some pretty boxes that I luckily saved. The pretty red and white hat box has some nice memories attached to it, and as that one too is from Lush, I decided it would be perfect to hold my Lush backstock that's in one of the two boxes. The other box contains kind of random stuff, like a backstock of contact lenses, and I don't even know what else. Turns out, more hair stuff. I don't use it much except for my backstock on contacts, so it doesn't really make sense to keep any of it aside from most of it being old and useless anyway. As it's a small box that doesn't contain that much stuff, I decided to combine decluttering and organizing for this one, and to rehome the stuff that needs to stay to another pretty box to be stored on another shelf. As you can see, my towels now have their own shelf to be stored on, and so my closet is now perfectly categorized and fully organized too. And while I was working on this, I decided to add a retractable shelf and glass shelf to my closet to make it even more fitted to my needs and thus more likely to succeed. Even though a lot of YouTube videos or books have us believe there is one good way to organize, I respectfully disagree. We all have our own needs, which can differ through our character but also brain chemistry, such as executive dysfunctioning, which basically means that the executive functioning part of the brain can be smaller, less developed, or less active than usual, and thus it requires different strategies than when that part of your brain is fully developed. I wanted to show you how I decided to organize things because I'm hoping it'll inspire you. Even if you think some things might not work for you because you live an entirely different life or maybe for financial reasons, they might give you some idea on how to improve things for yourself in your own home. And again, to hopefully make you realize that what works for one person doesn't have to work for you, and that it's okay when that happens. Putting everything into categories already has helped me a lot, because it helps me to at least always know where to look and to find things despite the out of sight, out of mind thing. And now that I've organized it all, I'm hoping it'll do so even more. I intend to keep you posted on how this is all working out for me and intend to share any changes I might make along the road. Again, I hope this helps you in any way, shape, or form, and I hope you'll have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.